been waiting here for an hour in this room. They're on their way. Allegedly. I'll believe it when I see it. This is most of what the job is, working on Nightline, just waiting in backstage rooms for bands to show up.
Good.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm David.
David, how you
It's
doing?
lovely to meet you.
Good to
I'm
meet you
really
too.
good.
Hello there, sir.
This is Harley behind the camera. Amazing man.
What's
Mike,
up?
David.
Hi, David.
Really nice to meet you.
You too.
Just said David. This is Harley, man behind the
Hey
camera.
guys.
What's up, man? How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
I think if we stand here-ish,
Cool.
That's good.
And good company?
and yeah, good company behind us.
Shabby.
This is pretty good, eh? How are you guys all good?
Yeah.
Good,
You've
yeah.
had about 200 fans out there. That's pretty great that you can bring them in and sort of give them a look into your into your world. I mean, you hear of bands bringing in 10 people, say, but having, what, 200?
Yeah,
That's kind of remarkable. Should we just roll into this?
Sure,
Are you
yeah,
good?
let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
200 people out there. That's quite special.
It is special. We when we were starting out and didn't know any better and kind of were young and excited about having fans, we would spend like most of our day was consisted of signing things before the show and then jumping down and signing things after the show and then signing things outside the building. And so, luckily we got to the point where we had to kind of control things a little bit more because
Yeah.
it would get a little out of hand. So normally we do meet and greets before the shows, which there's not quite as many people as there are here today. And then every so often throughout our touring cycles, we do fan club summits, which is what this is. And
So a
we-
summit today here at
Yes,
Hector,
so today's a
right.
summit. So all these fans came down and we give them activities to do. They get tours of behind backstage. They get to go up on stage, play our instruments. They kind of get to look through our dressing rooms, and there's all sorts of really fun things that they get to do. And then we kind of go out and play some songs and answer questions. And all
I
that
can't
good
think
stuff.
of many bands that do that. I know Metallica does some cool stuff with fans, but it's a really great thing to do. I think a lot of bands seem to sort of, once they get big, they kind of seal up and don't do that stuff.
Yeah,
is great.
well, it's always been
Well-
important for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the LP Underground, which is what our fan club is called, there was a point at which we realized we could do some special events and make them, really like focal points for the fan club and for ourselves, where we could, like Chester said, there were some special events. Like yesterday, they did some not just things where they build community with each other, but also they go and do some charity work together, representing Linkin Park and representing the LPU. And then on a day like today, we get to meet each one of them and everything. And it's, I think we do about 2 or 3 of them a year. And they're essentially like the concept was like, like almost like a Linkin Park convention.
Yeah.
type of thing. And people have flown. Whenever we do one, there's a few people that fly out from different places in the world. Today we saw Russia, Poland,
Hungary.
Hungary.
All the way from Australia.
Yeah.
That
Like
massive
very
3-hour
super,
flight.
super far away.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got Christchurch. Someone came out here from up there.
Yeah, and I mean, what are your fans like? Because obviously your fan base is pretty wide. You've been doing your thing now for long enough that you've probably attracted quite a few different age groups and types of people, I imagine.
Well, in New Zealand more than anywhere else, we've come to find that the fans here are awesome.
More than anywhere else.
You say that everywhere you go. Yeah.
No.
I would say, I do say that everywhere we go, but here I mean it.
Yeah, this is the real deal.
No, I think, we've had the opportunity to come back. This is our 3rd time, I believe, playing here in Auckland, and it's always a spot that we enjoy coming to. It's great, and here in New Zealand or here in Australia, not to lump them into the same thing, but we always play both of them when we're in this part of the world.
Yeah.
It's definitely, as far as touring goes for us, like a highlight for places to visit.
And how's the tour? I know your last show here, visually and I guess audibly, it sounded great. Like, is there anything? What's in store for the show here tonight? Have you done a different sort of visual setup, or?
It's evolved a lot since then. With the new record, Living Things. Sonically, that album kind of bridges a lot of the gaps between some of our other albums, which sonically sounded very different from one another. So this one kind of takes bits of each of them and then adds some new stuff as well. So visually, we represented that on the album, and I think this show does that visually.
Cool. I was curious with A Thousand Suns, an album which I really enjoyed, sort of a big concept kind of record. Did you enjoy the process of doing that, or because that was in quite a different direction, I think?
Yeah, it was interesting the process of making that record. We had actually considered creating a concept record, and then we also kind of discussed, really kind of going through the motions of trying to create music that didn't necessarily fall into, I guess, what we would consider typical arrangement.
Yeah.
So we wanted to really explore the studio space, I guess, so to speak, and we found that when we decided the idea of making a concept record was interesting, but it kind of felt like it really constricted the creative process. It really put the creative process into one little box.
Yeah,
if you had to
yeah.
write an album
Balls it
about a kid and a bike, right? So,
Yeah.
So what we decided to do was not make a concept record, but we did go with the idea of just making music that wasn't necessarily didn't fall into any type of typical style for ourselves, and we really pushed ourselves to create new sounds. To if there was a part that felt like we would normally go to like a really heavy guitar part, we decided to go somewhere else and try to pull the heaviness out of those sounds, and work with a lot of different rhythm. Work with a lot of different percussive
Elements.
elements. Jeez.
It's been a long day. It's all good.
Okay, so anyways,
it's all good.
But what ended up happening was once we got enough music together and we started playing the songs back to back, Mike started messing with the arrangements of the songs, and we discovered that there was one particular day where it felt like a story was being told while we were listening to the songs, and so that kind of sparked the idea to look at all the tracks and try to place them in a way that the entire album told a story.
Cool.
And what ended up happening was we kind of accidentally made the concept record we decided not to
Didn't
make.
mean to.
Yeah.
And you went and created the Raid score, a movie which came down here and I think surprised everyone in how awesome it was. Do you want to do more score work yourself? Because that was amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I had a lot of fun doing the score for the Raid. I looked at it like an experiment. It was just something I'd done a little bit of scoring before, but it was always like a cue here or a cue there, or like something for like 2 or 3 things that never even came out, and then a couple scenes in like Transformers 2. So it's like the smallest possible things, and then the biggest possible thing. And when I got the offer to do the score for that, it just seemed like a place where I could kind of experiment, and if I made some mistakes, it wouldn't be, because it was an independent film and it's the guy's first major film, and so we kind of, I think Gareth too, the director, like it was like a place to make mistakes and like see how far we could stretch ourselves, and he gave me free reign over it, and I had a lot of fun. So yeah, I think eventually I would probably do some more. It's the type of thing that scoring films is something you can do when you're like 70.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, John Williams is like 80 years old or something.
You don't
so
need to
like
be driving around
yeah,
on stage.
so I look at that as something like almost like a long-term kind of investment. Like I could, if I get a little more experience doing that, and I do have fun doing it, I'd like to do some more.
And just finally, guys, what do you think has been your smartest career move so far? Because you obviously have made some pretty good moves, whether it's doing certain score work, where it's appearing on Transformers, or just the way you do your albums. What would you say is the smartest thing you've done
I know
career-wise?
To me, like right off the bat, it was there was a moment after we finished Meteora, our second album, where we realized that if we made the same album one more time, like those first two albums were very, very similar, and at that moment we could either do another one that way or completely change course.
Yeah.
And we decided to do the latter. If we had done the same album the third time, we would be doing the same album every time, and I think all of us would have gone crazy. So it's really great for us, individually, to have the freedom to kind of just
Mix it up.
Yeah, to experiment with different sounds, different genres, and whatever comes to mind.
Cool. And here we are.
And here we are. Yeah.
Well, look, have an amazing show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. And we'll see you again in New Zealand next time.
All right, thank you.
I suppose. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, David.
Looking forward to it.